Hello and welcome to the Low-Code Café for Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. I am Dale Warner, Head of Support for Plantin App, and we are pleased to bring this to you. Today, our main topic will be talking about the Forms progress update, the update to our Forms 2.0 product. And so we'll be taking a look at what's happened since the 2 months. 2 months ago, we had an episode where we demonstrated the early release of Forms 2.0, or rather the early version, and we'll be just talking about the advancement of that today. Um, yeah, so we'll do that and some other things as well. This event is one that we do on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central Time once a month. It's usually scheduled for the last Wednesday of every month, and it's just an opportunity for us to demonstrate what's going on at Plantin App. These are all recorded and put on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/plantinap. So we encourage you to look for that and subscribe, and lots of good content that you can search for out there when you're trying to get something done. Our agenda today, we will go in, I'll spend a few minutes from the trenches of support, and then we'll go into the largest portion of our presentation will be hands-on low coding. You'll see all about what's going on with Forms 2.0. We do encourage you to engage with us. You can use the chat window or the Q&A window. You can raise your hand if you want to talk, but after it's all over, there's a feedback form, and we'll be presenting that link for you as well. As I mentioned, this is something that we do on the last Wednesday of each month normally, and so the next live webinar is scheduled for May 27. All right, from the trenches of support, here we go. And I'm going to get the Q&A screen up just in case anybody runs a question through there. All right. We are currently on the current releases version 1.28. Version 1.27 is still in the support window. That one was released on June 16th of last year, and so our standard support window is through June 16th of 2026. And then version 128 was released in January, and so that standard support window will extend into January of 2027. Okay. Spending a minute here on the hotfixes in version 128. I have a system that we update from week by week or month by month rather, and so once you're in version 128, there is this section called cumulative hotfixes, and any hotfixes that haven't been installed are listed here. I'm going to select it and then talk about a few of the key ones that are useful in version 128. So there was a bug in 128 having to do with the Stripe payment method and processing of webhooks. So installing this cumulative hotfix will resolve that issue. There's another one that has to do with memory management. The create list from SQL action that we've had for a long time, depending on where you used it and how you use it, if it was a large data set, that it would retain memory on the server for a while until at least until at worst case, it would resolve when the application pool restarted, but this releases it sooner, so it will help you have less memory consumed by the IIS server, and so certainly that one is worth doing. There's also a number of corrections to inline help throughout, so particularly having to do with file uploads and hidden fields, explaining the security implications of hidden fields, drop down with autocomplete and text box, just making sure that the syntax that you need is accurately documented right in the product. So a few things that are worth doing, and just so that you see the cumulative hotfix process. When you say prepare update, it shows you all the things that are about to be installed. It asks you to acknowledge that this is going to lock out your users while that upgrade is taking place, and that you have a backup. It's very important to have a backup. And so once you click the start button, that's the point of no return. The update will begin. I'm going to slide this one out of the way. We'll let it complete behind the scenes, and we'll come back to it again next month. All right. The only other thing that I wanted to talk about from a support perspective is that last time I announced that we have some new support features when you're opening a help ticket, and we were going to have the new features. Now we do. So you can get paid upgrade assistance. Look for those, the option to request paid upgrade assistance if you want help getting up to the current version of Plankton app. And also, if whatever you're working on, if would benefit from an immediate answer, and being going to the front of the line, as well as being able to have a direct support experience, we'll send you a Teams link and work to resolve your issues quickly. So if your project demands that and you have the budget, we would encourage you to use that new feature. We do another event, and this is weekly, almost every week, the Low-Code Campfire, and that's available on Fridays this same hour, and I'll put that link into the chat here in just a minute. So these are all the links that are available. I'm going to put them into the chat right now. And make sure everybody can see it. So if you want to register in advance for the Low-Code Campfire, the link is there. You can get to our recordings at youtube.com/plantonapp. The community portal is a great place to get your questions answered and to help your fellow low-coders as well. And there's that link to the feedback form in case you want to tell us what you liked about this episode or what you'd like to see another time. All right. So let's get into the hands-on low coding. The whole topic, as I mentioned, is all about the progress that we've been making on our forms product. And we'll be focusing on new capabilities, things that both that you can do already with Action Form, but then the things that there's new capabilities, and so it'll be beyond Action Form. When we showed you the product 2 months ago, we had 6 field types within the form product. And since then, we now have 10. So we are adding, and we're adding more all the time. There's lots of projects going on to add each of the different field types that you'll need to take advantage of. But we've got 4 to talk about today: the content block, the money, the phone, and rich text box. So we'll start by diving into those. Let's take a look. We like to do this hands-on, so I have a system here, and I'm going to add the new form product to it. So the form has already been installed on the system, and so we just can add it to a page, and we get the familiar Go to Manage menu. I wanted to mention too, right from the start, that the form product is we're closing in on doing an early release to people who want to see it. If you do want to see it, this will not impact your ability to use any of your Plankton app features, including Action Form that you already have. It's just an add-on that will add a new form product that you'll be able to try out. If you have the time to try it out and would like to, just appreciate that you would send me an email, and we will include you on the list of people invited into the early release of that. So email address support@plantanapp.com, or you can open a support ticket and just ask to be part of the Forms 2.0 release. All right, so we have a new Forms 2.0 loaded on the page. We'll go into the Manage menu, and much like Action Form, you can give it a name. So this is it's the demonstration form, and just as a quick refresher, we have a main container. So this is the forms preview. You can drag fields out onto it. So for example, if I wanted a first name field, you drag it out and call it first name. And if you configure it no more than that, we can save it and go back and take a look at the form. And so the form comes up with, didn't save accurately, so we still have some bugs going on. The whole thing didn't save. Let's try this again. I got off. My page got off here. It did save. Just got redirected to a unexpected page. So let's try this again. Here we go. All right, so our first name field got added, and we don't have any buttons yet, but you can fill it in. And the layout is it's taking up the entire width of the page. That's just the way that I didn't do anything more than that. So then we can, as we're if we want to control how wide something is, we can either, one choice is to add another field. So if we're going to have last name next to it, we can say last name. This is the container is by not having any container at all, they're going to show up as stacked. So we refresh, we see first name, last name. If we want to start controlling the layout, we can add a container field and drop it in, and then start adding fields to the container, dragging and dropping them into the container. And the container, instead of being in a vertical, we'll set it up in a horizontal. So now we start to control the way it looks. We put them side by side and save that. And now we start to see a side-by-side layout. And hopefully this canvas accurately reflects, the goal is the canvas that you see here reflects what you're going to see on the form. If you want to have some more control over the width of the fields, we can go from a layout mode of automatic to manual. And once we choose a manual, we get some handles here so we can move things around and size them exactly the way that we would like. And so I am going to size this appropriately. So now when we refresh, we start to see the layout be impacted in that way. All right, and that layout is the same 12-column layout that you're familiar with in Action Form. So you can use an automatic layout or a manual layout, and yeah. So that's kind of a quick refresher of how this works, what it looks like. And so going back to, we have some new fields: money, phone, rich text. Let's start with money. So we can drag a money field out onto this, and let's get it where we like it and give it some width. And we're going to call this the salary field. And so it has properties like show conditionally and enabled on load. We'll spend some more time with some of these, enabled dynamically. Um, but the fun starts to happen. We're defaulting to a mode of single currency. There's some choices: single currency, multiple currencies, global. We've put a lot of thought into these, trying to make it as easy as possible to take advantage of these depending on your circumstance. So if you are defining an app in the United States, it's going to only be used in the United States and only for US dollars, then you can set up, you can choose single currency, and this makes it easy for your users to specify. Um, so we're going to pick US dollars, USD, and you can have an initial amount if you want to initialize it. There's some more things about browser language and precision. Precision 2 points. This would be for your cents. So you'll get 2 points after the decimal point. And you can choose what the currency symbol looks like. Let's take a look at this. So now we have salary showing up. Because it's a single currency, we show USD, US dollar here. That was what we selected, but you can't change it. It's only for one currency, and we get a nice format as you type in. It's when you I guess I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. If you look in the help section of any field, it shows you the outputs. You can also hover the information block next to the name of the field and see what the outputs are as well. But we see them nicely defined here. So the raw token salary is going to include the formatted, including the currency symbol. The salary amount is going to be the raw decimal amount without any formatting and formatted with just so no commas or no thousand separator, and the decimal point will always be a period regardless of what your culture is. And then the currency is going to show you the three-letter currency code. So this will help you if you want to know what tokens that are available to you, and there's a copy to clipboard available in all those cases, so you can just click those and use them elsewhere, such as in your buttons. I am going to add a button though, because as I often do, I like to be able to see what my values are, and I typically do a show values button. And this button is going to be have two actions on it. We will add a context to JSON. We'll say object today, and this is the action that lets us take all of our context and put it into a token. I'm going to call the token that I want to put it into tokens, and then we'll add another action. I'm going to widen this out so I can see it really well. We'll add another action that is display error message. This is just a quick way to get things onto the screen. This is just a debugging tool. So all of our tokens are going to get displayed when we click this button. All right, so let's refresh and see this at work. We put in salary and hit show values, and we see salary currency gets USD, salary amount is the unformatted amount with no thousand separator. Last name, we didn't put anything. First name, we didn't put anything. And then the raw token salary has the completely formatted number. So the So focusing in on the salary, the single currency, very, very easy to use with, you pick a currency and a single currency and you pick a currency and you're good to go. The multi-currency is a nice option. Oftentimes, if you're doing currencies, you're going to want to accept only a certain set of currencies. So I'm going to, it's suggested here, nice, that you use a comma delimited list of the currency codes that you accept. And so we'll do that. We'll do US dollars, and then I'm also going to accept the RON, the Romanian currency, and we'll set our initial currency to be US dollars. So with those changes, the experience comes a little different. Now this is available as a drop down, and only the ones that we've mentioned exactly in the order that we've put them in are available at the top, or as currencies to select from. And the um, and we can pick different currencies. And so, for example, we'll pick the that we want to enter it in the RON, and so we see the currency is RON, the amount unformatted, the basic salary token with formatting. So now to I guess make this to round this one out, there's the global one. The global still has. Sorry, let's making sure I get this right. We're going to go to the global currencies. And now we have preferred and exclude as choices. I'm not going to choose anything right now and just show you the changes that happen when we choose global. Now we see all the different currencies that are supported by this tool. Hopefully the one you're looking for will be in there. There's the ability to search for it. So you can search for euro and pick it, that kind of thing. And if we look at the list, let's see, one of them is the currency code is AFN, Afghani. I'm going to use that as an exclude. If I want to accept everything in the world except that one, I can exclude it from the list. You can exclude as many as you want. There's another one there on the list that's ALL. And we'll say the preferred currency is the US dollar and the euro. So these are going to appear at the top. These are going to be excluded, and this is going to be the initial one. And I'm uh, yeah, there's a UI bug where you have at the moment where we have to close and then reopen this, and so I'm losing setting to redo that. So we'll do that again. US, the preferred is US dollars and euro, and we're going to exclude um, the Afghani was AFN, and we'll also exclude the ALL. And yeah, so we get US dollar as the default. Our preferred ones are up at the top, and then everything else except the few that we excluded are available down below. All right. One of the things that we've also tried to make easy as we approach this is dealing with the number format. So different cultures deal with numbers in different ways. I'm going to switch over to the portal system language option. Actually, I'm going to make sure I re-click into the field and do it correctly. Get around my UI bug. And so now when I do this, we still get US dollars and we get the right formatting for the US. If I'm viewing this form from another culture, I'm going to switch to the Romanian culture. That now we're seeing that this is the way Romanians would typically see and enter numbers. With a decimal point as the thousand separator and a comma for the decimal point. And so just switching culture, they're going to see a culture that's more comfortable, a numeric format that's more comfortable in their culture. Using our show values, we can see we still get US dollars. The salary amount still shows up with a decimal point, even though the formatted one shows up with a comma. And so we're getting a clear separation between the formatted value in that culture and the value that you're going to need to put into the database and in whatever you've selected for currency code. Um, Much like the old one, there's still, in action form, there's still the ability to choose between a symbol or a narrow symbol or a three-letter code. So, um, for example, the Canadian dollar still uses a narrow symbol as a dollar sign, but the symbol includes an indicator that it is a Canadian dollar. So, um, you might, depending on your application, you might want to use a symbol or a narrow symbol or even the three-letter code as your currency symbol. Okay. So that gets us through the first one that we wanted to show, which was money. Phone is similar. So if we use the phone field and put it out here next to salary, when we click into it, we'll give it a name like main phone. Um, it has these same modes, single country or multiple or global, and so you can set those. Um, so starting out, we'll do the country. We're going to pick uh, states for the phone number and save that. And so when we look at it, we know we have a phone control. It doesn't offer, it's called main phone. I should have a space there. I should fix that. But it doesn't offer any ability to switch to a different country. And so um, when you're single country mode, very, very easy. I'm going to jump to global. And so you still get these same kinds of things, the ability to prefer a country and exclude countries, and have an initial country. And one of the underdocumented things here is exactly what country codes to use. And these are two-character country codes. So you can see in our example, US and Romania and Italy. And we can set an initial country of Romania. And so now we see the appropriate flag. Let's clean up some of the UI things here. This should be wider. And my form filler, I tell you what, I'm going to take the easy route and just switch this to an automatic layout so that it goes wider by itself. My form filler RoboForm is getting in the way of my handles there. Yeah, so now we get nice wide. So we have the ability to pick any that we want, but the ones that we prefer are at the top, and then we can choose any format we want. So that is global mode, and then if you go to the multi-country mode, the same idea applies where we can use and now we're just specifying the ones that we want, and we don't get access to all of them. Ah, that one's broken. Sorry, that's that's why I wanted to skip multiple countries. Multiple countries is there's a bug in that UI, so that'll be something to be fixed before it gets out. And then I'm interested. I'm just feeling brave. Going to the um, main phone. We'll go back to global mode, and I see that there's an enable geo IP here. So I'm interested to see uh, if that accurately sets the. Um, I haven't tested that one out yet. So following my curiosity a little bit. Nope, it does not. So we're going to have to not use that one. All right, so that's a peek at the phone fields. That one's a little bit more buggy than others. I'm going to get it off my form. The delete for getting things off your form is this red box that shows up next to a field. So if you do that and then save, it will be gone from your form. All right. Next, we make sure our form is back to good working order. Good. And next is the rich text box. So rich text box. Oh, yes, rich text box. And I am going to add another container for that just so that it'll be on the next row and add our rich text box to it. And this has properties like, and this will be, let's call this the resume field. Again, it can be populated with an initial value. We have a minimum height, and so this lets us easily create an HTML kind of an entry field. So use formatting, and when we show it, it shows up with the formatting as well, the HTML. This is an HTML output here, so we see it in the output. So just very similar to what you're familiar with in Action. The last one is a little bit different than what you may have seen before. It's the content block. This is this is similar to static text. And again, I'm going to make this container be on a horizontal layout. So these will be side by side. And so for for the content block, you won't see a title for it. So let's say this is, I'm going to call it my extra information. And you can author in two different ways. A plain text will let you type whatever you want, but without any formatting options. So we'll save that and show that off. So now we see hello world down here. This gives me a chance to show another feature. Containers can be aligned. Um, by default, they're aligning at the bottom, but we could align them at the middles or the top. So if I change that alignment and refresh, now we see that that content is showing up at the top. So we renamed this or called it the content block because um, it doesn't have the exact same features as the static text. Uh, and the main feature difference is that it cannot expand. You can't put JavaScript into it. From a security perspective, we want to prevent that from happening. So JavaScript will have to happen elsewhere. They will not belong anymore in this content block. Let's take a look. It's non-interactive content. Let's switch to rich text for entry and update it. And so now we're getting the date time showing up. And that's interesting formatting. I wouldn't have expected that, but what do I know? But we are seeing, you can expand tokens um, into the field, as well as add formatting. And so, for example, if I bold that, save, we'll see that in the output as well. Bolded. Okay. So it's a token expander and a formatter. You can push content into it, but it will not support JavaScript. That will happen elsewhere. So those are our four new field types. But wait, there's more. We have a context initialization section. This is something that is going to show up on buttons. So this was what it looked like 2 months ago. Now we have this new section, context initialization. So when we're looking at a button and we look at our sections, there's this context initialization. This is going to tell you all the things that you're going to get in context when you click this button. So there will be the ability to get the time zone offset. You can get the JSON of your different containers, but field by field, first name is here, last name is here, all the different variations of salary and so salary, amount, currency, and explanation of what you're going to get. And notice that you can copy these. So when you're working with a button, you can jump down to this context initialization section and quickly grab the things that you need. That's in addition to, you could, much like action form, go to a field and see the things that are part of the field. But right from the button, as you're into a button, you can see all the things that are available under the button. So hopefully that'll be a shortcut for you. So that's a nice new feature. There's some common settings. I'm going to show them off here on button, but the enabled on load you're going to see in most fields and buttons, and enabled dynamically. So those are new things since last time. And then icon position and root classes. So enabled on load, if we take a look at that, we look at a button and we see enabled on load. This is where you make a choice. Is this enabled? When the form loads initially, what happens? The default is you want a field to be enabled. You can also have it always be disabled. And then the last is conditional. If you pick conditional, then you'll have to provide an expression to say under what conditions that should be initialized as the form loads. This is something that's happening during the backend load of the initial creation of the form. Anything backend is a C# expression, and C# very similar to JavaScript, but not identical. So we let you know exactly what that is. And then enabled dynamically is the selection that if you want to make things change as other things on the form change. So this would be previously have been in your bind expressions in action form. You can provide an expression to enable it dynamically. So as soon as you click the checkbox, that opens up, and then that's going to be a required field. This is an important one. Notice that it's giving you an example, fields.price.value.trim.length. This is a pretty complex expression for getting the price field from your form. Oftentimes you might just use fields.price.value. this is just an example of um, a more advanced JavaScript expression. But the main thing to know is that these dynamic JavaScript expressions aren't going to have access to, or at least in the current thinking, you're not going to be able to just use bracket token bracket. That you'll actually have to spell it out, fields dot token name dot or fields dot field name dot value to get the value of it. So this, but like I say, we're still thinking, rethinking that. But at the moment, when you get the preview, it probably will not have just the bracket syntax. What else do we have? Icon position. This is a nice one. When you are working on a button, you have the ability to select an icon. And so, for example, if I want that one, and we see it right in the UI right as we're doing it. But now we have icon position, so it's positioned after the label. If you want it before the label, you can do that. And if you want it as an icon only, you can do that. So it gives a nice set of choices for how to display your icons. The last one is, I'm going to make this be after the label. The last one is the root CSS class. So you're familiar, if you're familiar with Action Form, there's a section where you can put in classes and styles. The decision with Forms 2.0 is that we're only going to have a single class or you can add as many classes as you want to the root of this item, but we don't style the names differently. So, for example, there used to be in Action Form you could have a class for the label and a class for the control. Now we just have a class for this whole object, this whole field on the form. And so I'm going to call this going to call it my first name class just to see it show up. So we'll render this form and inspect the first name. And we'll see that my first name class, and if I'd had other classes be added to this div, and so all the things that are subordinate to the div, so the label, the form group name, the input field, all these can be styled from the class that you add here. So no longer will you be able to add a quick color to a style. That's you'll be encouraged to do things by way of classes, and everything will have this root CSS class that you can add to. All right, next. The validation section has changed. So if we're looking at a button or a field, let's look at a field rather. So we have the first name field, the validation section still has a spot for condition, but then there's an add validation. There isn't a separate required checkbox. You can add any number of validations that you want, so they're not limited to how many you can add. So you can make it be a required field, and you can also make it be a one-word field. And so now this is going to enforce that you can only have, it must be there, and it can only have one word in it. So if we try that out, we can put Dale as a field, but not Dale. Hopefully when we submit this, yeah, we get the only one word is allowed functionality, or if we try and leave it blank, we get first name is required. So this, I think, is an interesting change that you can add as many validations as you want. And I haven't dug in yet, but I believe these validators have not changed from what we've defined elsewhere, which is to say that you can define some JSON and create your own validators. And so making them conform to um, uh, making your own validators, which you can then use kind of in an additive way. You could add 2 or 3 or however many validators you need to make a field work for you. So that's a nice new addition. Yeah, so this is just the illustration of that. And um, I will mention too that as I widen this out a little bit, notice that there's a condition. And so while I haven't tried this out, apparently you can put in an expression that that validator is only gets applied in defined conditions. So it, there's a condition overall if field validation will take place, and then at the validator level, you can have different validators. So I think that opens up some interesting validation um, directions that were not previously possible. All right. Canvas design size. This is an easy one to illustrate. I'll show you a couple of you can define for narrow or for wide. So to see this interactively, um, the canvas, if you're defining something for a narrow layout, you can choose to move your have your canvas more closely reflect the way that you're going to use it. So that'll help you visualize what your field layout is. If you have doing something for full width, it'll take up all the width. This is just a cosmetic thing to help you visualize in different screen resolutions or different browser widths what um, what your form is going to look like. And notice that we're seeing a responsive change in a narrow between widest and narrow. And uh, if we experiment with this, the actual form, and make it narrower, we see that at some point it jumps to to the responsive drop. Salary goes to a new line. So this will help you visualize that and design your screens appropriately. Um, when I showed this 2 months ago, the drag and drop experience was difficult, and now they have improved it significantly. So as we try to move things around, we get a nice green arrow for where or a green bar where things are going to drop, and they will go there. So it helps you rearrange the form the way you want. If you're moving this container inside of or above that container, is just things are dropping where you put them. So um, I guess that's making it work like you would expect, not um, we got rid of an earlier bad experience. Yep, so we'll put that back. Next, this is a whole new one, and I was this was fun, and we'll probably end out on this one. Um, we'll see. Error messages or actions now have some actions have classes. So if you do a display error message or a display message or even a toast message, the messages can have classes and do get classes. So the actions you'll see happen. So let's say that we wanted to pop up a toast that displays the first name and last name. If we add a button that says let's turn this into I want these side by side. So I'm going to put a container down here and then put my buttons into the container and make the container horizontal. It's a new paradigm, something to get used to, but couple of extra steps to get exactly our way here anyway. This is going to be my make some toast button. And in keeping with that theme, I'm going to pick a bread slice icon. And just for fun, I want it to be before the label. So we have this nice make some toast icon, and we're going to do a toast action. So display toast message and stop. And the heading is going to be so now we have a nice definition of that. The CS, notice that, I mean, we're in an action that is a uh, display toast message and stop execution action, but it has the ability to do CSS class. And so this is I'm going to call this the my toast class, just so we can see it in the UI. All right, so now we have a button. So we'll say make some toast, and we see you have toast. First name is Warner, last name is Dale. Well, I rearranged the field, so it did what I told it, not what I was expecting, but it did pop open. So let's fix a couple of things just to make that make a little more sense to me. As I look at I'm going to rearrange this back, first name, last name, and also in my make some toast button, in the action, I forgot to set, there is a hide with transition after seconds. This is now in seconds instead of milliseconds, and I'm just going to extend this out so that we have time to inspect it in the UI. So let's now try this again. Make some toast. You have toast. And so as I start looking at this, come on. I got notice that the div has a my toast class. So whatever classes that you add on there are available to you to style. So this is going to make it very easy for you to style your toast messages. All right, and then sticking with the whole UI theme a little bit, there's some other things that you should know. That these actions have some other things that are the actions and the fields have some very standard things that are available. So we found the one that we added manually, but there's some other things that are here. So there's PAA is closable. This toast has an X on it, and so it's closable, and it gets that status is closable. Um, it is a toast message, and just by virtue of that, it gets the class PAA toast. So you can style all of your toast messages by styling PAA toast. And then it gets another one, PAA Toast Default. So this is coming from, if we look at our button, our action, we have a style here. And so, for example, there's a success or a warning or an error. If we choose to make it be a success toast, and we'll try this again, and click the button, and look at we now have is closable. That's still true. We have PAA toast, but now we have a PAA toast success class, not default. So if you want to style all of your success toasts in the same way, different from your warning toasts, maybe you want to have warning toasts be bigger or flash or whatever CSS you can imagine, then you can style them differently and it'll be the same way across all your app. And then I think the thing that we'll do to bring this in for a landing is I'm going to look at the style for last name or the HTML for last name. Um, we didn't give this one a custom CSS, but it is being styled in a way that, or rather, you get classes that give you lots of handles to style. So it is a PAA field. Every field will have a PAA field class, and every text box will have a PAA field text box class. Um, so if you want to apply styling to all your text boxes in a particular way, that'll be available. And then every named field will be a PAA field name and the name of the ID of the field. So this is an interesting use case. Let's say that everywhere that last name shows up in your application, you can have a style for PAA field name last name, so that wherever that shows up page by page, maybe that's bolder or highlighted or shows with a red background, your styling will apply through anything with that same name. So that's a nice one. And then, and I guess to show that off perhaps just a little bit more, if we look at this money field, you can see that much like the text field, it is still a PAA field, but it's a PAA field money. So you can style your money fields different from text fields, and then it has its name salary, so you can style it by name as well. We see these other ones that are popping up. Is optional, is enabled, is valid. And these change dynamically. Well, is optional is no, they change dynamically. So if the field is if it were not optional, it would not have this is optional, and it might have one that's is required. I'm not certain. We'll have to. I guess we should test that out. Let's take a look at this one, which we set up as is required. So yeah, it has is enabled, but it has PAA is required, and it has PAA is valid. If I change this and whoops and don't provide a value and then hit my show values button, it's now PAA is invalid. So you can style for is valid or is invalid. And so that gives you, again, a lot of options. If it were enabled, if it not enabled, it would change as well. So all of these PAA classes are very consistent across all fields and gives you great styling capabilities. And that brings us in for a landing. We've been talking for an hour. If you have questions, if you have interest, you are welcome to join us on the Low-Code Campfire 2 days from now, and we will continue the discussion on where we're going with the new Forms product. And again, let us know if you want to be part of the preview. Thanks, and we will see you next time.